So these are great tools. Where this information actually came from, if you notice there's a reference to a TED Talk or TEDx talk. I don't quite know the difference between a TEDx and a TED, to be honest with you. But it's a gentleman by the name of Jason Clark. When I first saw this video, and I would really encourage you to look up his video, this is powerful. It blew me away with the concept that we're wrong when it comes to change. Because what do we assume when we talk about anything changing? We assume that people don't like change, right? The concept that blew me away is that's an untruth. People embrace change every day. Yep. We change our clothes, we change our directions, we change our way of life. Change is a very vital part of who we are as human beings, and it's something we actually embrace. So if you come from that mindset, I love what Mike just shared with you, with how do you present a new idea to maybe an individual or a club that the perception is they're never going to do it any way different. The first is to help them understand what's comfortable can stay comfortable. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. So the defensive posture that sometimes happens may just be in our messaging. So it can be really simple when you think about being innovative. A lot of that just comes from simple communication. How you present it, and let them know that it's okay if you like eating lunch at your meetings, it's okay to still eat lunch at your meetings. If you don't like eating lunch at your meetings, it's okay that you don't eat lunch at your meetings. If you think maybe some do and some don't, maybe we could explore that to see do we want to offer that as an option. So it's just a way of letting them know that their whole cheese, if you've ever read the book, Who Moved My Cheese, it's a pretty powerful thought. People are sometimes fearful of the unknown, so we migrate to the known. So if you let them know what is staying the same and allow them to become comfortable in that, often there is a little more openness to adding additional things. Or really being honest with evaluating, like Mike said, well, what couldn't we do before that we still can't do? Yeah, I can't be a member of a Rotary Club if I don't pay my dues. That was the same rule 10 years ago. It's the same rule today. So that's not going to change. People are still going to be part of clubs who are going to be in an organizational structure. Maybe what can't we do now? Well, maybe we don't have enough people to do the service project that we think is a really great idea. We don't have enough people to do that. But what could we maybe do to get to that level? My favorite on this whole sheet is what couldn't we do before, but we can do now. So what's an example of the Council on Legislation in 2016 came out with a few things. What's something that you couldn't do before that you can do now within a Rotary Club?
Have women not take attendance, have satellites, have corporate memberships. I think those are things that come to my mind quickly.
So there's some alternative meeting formats. Does that mean that all clubs have to do that? But they can if they choose. So part of rolling out innovative processes and innovative thoughts is just letting people know that it's okay to explore. And it's okay as a group to decide where are we comfortable and where are our resources and what maybe we could do differently. Because you can have lost opportunities. Right? So again, this was part of an entire workshop that takes about 4 hours. So in 45 minutes, it's impossible to go through all of the paradigms. But I strongly encourage you to look up Jason Clark. I found him to be very inspirational. It might even be something you want to consider showing at one of your Rotary clubs. It's a very open-minded way to allow people to let go of some biases, that people don't like change. Some people like change. They just don't like change without purpose. And if you think of when we join a Rotary Club, for whatever reason that was, whether it was because we wanted to network for a vocation, which many of us joined for that, or we want to provide service, maybe we're an empty nester and we want to do something. Whatever got us in the door, got us in the door. But what keeps us here is purpose and meaning. People value purpose and meaning. They need that for their sustenance. We need purpose and meaning in life as much as we need food and water. And in some studies, actually, people will sacrifice food, water, and shelter to have purpose and meaning. So if there is something you want to try or you want to discuss, if they understand the purpose and meaning behind it, might be a little more open to the thoughts. So what are some of the challenges when you're out there talking to your Rotary clubs and talking to your friends who are in Rotary? What are some of the challenges that you face? And maybe we could kind of use an exercise, like Mike was saying, what people say, and what might be the meaning behind it. So who's got a thought or a comment you want to share? Please.
Closing the deal. In other words, you have a prospective new member. They say yes, but they don't show up for the meetings. They don't actually sign up.
So what do you think they really mean?
They mean no.
Okay. Is it easy for people to say no? Yeah, sometimes yes. Sometimes somebody have a hard time. So how do we embrace, if somebody shows up to one of your club meetings or service project, how do we embrace them? Do we, are we friendly?
Should be.
Should be.
But are you?
Yeah.
Right, sometimes we're not, and we lose sight of, we like to be thanked and recognized, and like what goes around comes around, and we need to show each other that same professional respect and thank everyone for being present and helping.
So let me ask you a really tough question, and I've pondered this for months, so I'd like your opinion on this. I think most clubs are friendly, except one that I visited in the Big Island of Hawaii, but that's a whole other conversation. Sorry if you're in Hawaii. But are we welcoming? When we go into an organization and we look around, we want to feel like we're part of them or we're not going to join, right? So how can we be welcoming to others? And how can we be welcoming to others who may be different from us?
Conversation, speaking with them, and engage. It's not just like you say, "Hi, how are you? Good morning," as you're walking down the sidewalk. You have to speak with someone and listen to them, and get engaged in a conversation, and that makes anybody feel welcome if you're talking to them, even if it's just small talk. But having that face to face and trying to get to know somebody and let them tell you who they are and
So John, I just heard you talk about listening.
listen.
Okay? So when we're in Rotary and someone wants to know about our organization, do we go into listening mode?
Not always. Too often, I think we go into either talk or preach mode.
Yeah, so is that welcoming? What might be another way to handle that? You want to?
Being a new member myself, when we have a lot of other people that bring in new members, I have trouble bringing in new members because the people I know are teachers and they can't leave school to go to Rotary meetings. But whenever somebody else brings in someone new, I wave at them. I just do the teacher thing, waving and going up and introducing myself. And they seem to be kind of excited about the fact when I tell them, I say, I'm a new member too. And I said, I just wanted to welcome you. This is a really neat club, and I just kind of tell them my impressions. And that seems to kind of make them feel not alone and like, oh, there's somebody that knows what this is like, that process, so to speak.
So we're going to have a little fun, okay? So you're at two separate tables. So what I would like you to do is pretend that one of you is visiting your Rotary Club for the first time. You've kind of heard about it, not sure what you're getting into. And I want you as a table to engage in a conversation, just like you would at any meeting. We're going to do that for 2 minutes. and then we're going to report out, and I'll share with you why we're doing this. I asked each of you, so thank you, Mary and Linda, for volunteering to be our visitors today. Who would like to tell me what Linda was looking for in her visit to your Rotary Club?
How can she make a difference?
Did she say that?
She came to find out she was inquiring. She had an inquiring mind. She
Nope.
didn't know what Rotary was. She came asking about what Rotary was.
But do we know what Linda was looking for from an experience in Rotary?
Not yet.
Okay. Do we know what Mary was potentially looking for in an experience in Rotary? Okay, what was Mary looking for?
Service.
Okay. So people walk in the door for service? So I'm going to challenge you, both tables a little bit, because I heard a lot of tell. And that's what we're doing, guys. So an innovative way of welcoming someone into the possibility is, we don't marry everybody we date. So some people who come in might just put their toe in the water. We share all this great stuff. But if we don't know what they're looking for, how do we know we can meet their expectations? So let's share, why might someone seek out Rotary? What are some of the reasons they might want to see if this is a good fit for them?
Well, if they've heard about the reason they want the connections it provides in the community, if they're new.
So, new to the community, they want to get to know people, they want to make connections. What other reasons might people join the Rotary?
If they know the mission, that may want them to serve, to help in that mission.
Maybe. Does the average non-Rotarian have a clue what we do? No. Yep, which is what we're working on. Yeah. What other reasons do people join Rotary?
Business. Go ahead. Business connection.
Business. They're in business. They're going to make a living. They got to pay bills. They want other people they want to get to know to do business.
I was going to say lunches, but
I need to go to your club. So,
Sometimes they just join because they came because somebody asked them. And that was, our own personal experience. I had joined another club and dropped out after 2 years because it didn't fit anything what I wanted.
thank you. So why didn't stay? So they come in the door. Did anybody ask you in the club that you were part of for 2 years?
Oh, they
What
did
was
ask.
that?
All they asked was for cash.
Yeah.
I didn't have it. And really, that's what it was.
Mhm.
And then a number of, probably 10 years later, a good friend of ours, our kids went to school together. So what are you doing on a Wednesday? And that got the whole ball rolling. But part of it is, and I think you hit it right there, nobody really asks when you come in, what is it you're looking for? With this is what we offer, that nobody, the return isn't there.
So an innovative thought to consider. Before we tell, maybe we could ask. Right? So if I may, John, will you be my visitor and I'll be the Rotarian? Can we role play a little bit?
Okay,
Is that all right?
okay.
It
John,
doesn't sound convincing.
yeah, he's a little skeptical.
Yes, I'll do that.
But that's okay. You know?
Oh, my
So,
God.
John, thanks for coming today. How'd you hear about our meeting?
Well, I actually saw the wheel outside on the light post that said Rotary meets here, and I was kind of curious as to what Rotary was all about. And
Have you heard of Rotary before?
not a whole lot. I mean, I know that, I should say, I've heard about Rotary before, but not knowing a whole lot about what Rotary does or is.
Well, let me ask you a few questions, and then I'll be able to answer that better for you.
Okay.
John, what are you looking for? Are you working still? Are you new to the area? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm working still. I've been involved in organizations, boards of directors and things of that sort, which is a different kind of thing. And I thought, well, I think I know that Rotary is a service organization. And so I'm curious as to what that service might be, because I feel a little inclined to offer service in some way or another. And that's my curiosity with Rotary. I don't know how I'd fit into that, but that's kind of what I'd like to do. And I thought I'd start with this instead of the Lions Club.
Well, we really appreciate you dropping by. Let me ask you another question. Do you have any passions or hobbies, things that really matter to you in life?
Oh, that's a good one. I guess I really don't have a lot of hobbies. I like working with people. I like being amongst a group of people doing something, which gives me pleasure to be a part of a group that accomplishes something. So I like that part.
Well, you're in the right place, because we definitely have a lot of people here. So one of the things I'd like to introduce you to, it sounds like you really want to get involved in service. And we've got some smaller projects as well as larger projects. So I'd like you to actually meet Greg. And Greg is our service projects chair. And he can share with you some of the things we've got coming up in the near term. We'd love to invite you to just come and get your hands dirty a little bit with us and be part of that and see a little bit more from the inside out what we do. Would you be open to that?
I think so. That sounds like fun.
Awesome. So obviously we could go on and on with the conversation.
Right.
So what did I do there?
You found out what he wants.
Yeah. So what if John would have said, my kids are grown and I don't have grandkids yet and I'm kind of an empty nester and I'm just, I've always loved being around kids.
Yeah.
I might want to direct him to our youth services director to share with him our youth programs.
Uh-huh.
Or what if someone said, I heard you do a lot of international stuff and I was on a mission trip with my church and I really found that rewarding and I was hoping to learn more about that. Then maybe we could go talk to our international services chair. So the innovative thought is, let's ask and then see what they might be looking for and then help steer them into that aspect of Rotary. Because Rotary is sometimes this big old monster. And it's intimidating. When you're the outsider coming in and you're trying to knock on the door to see if you might fit, and they've got these rituals and these cultures and these, I'm not sure. But if you find something that touches your heart and you can connect it with that little piece of Rotary, the rest will come. So we're wrapping up on our time. As I turn it back over to Mike, because I'm going to let him finish up with kind of your call to action, I'd also like to encourage you to think a little outside of the box with how you tell the story. So you're going to hear from David share a little more about storytelling. But one of the things we learned this summer when we went through some leadership training is instead of just being in a box, if we start combining our stories with the things that matter. So sharing not just the big check, we just gave X amount of dollars to this organization, to look at showcasing the end result. So if John shared that he was looking to do something with children, and I could pull up the club Facebook page or website and say, oh, John, I think you'd be really thrilled to know we actually just sponsored this child from Belize who was treated at Shriners Hospital for Children. And one of the things our club does is we house these children. We bring them from Belize, we house them, we transport them, and we support their families and become their family while they're here. And that's just one of the many programs that we do here in our club to support children. But I can show it.
Yeah.
A little more powerful, right? So connecting your service projects with your foundation projects, with your membership story, to get out there and really show the world what you're doing, because you're all doing so many good things, and you're going to hear some good ideas from David on that. So thanks for sharing your times, and thanks for sharing the
I think this
exercise.
exercise, real quick, this is a member assessment kind of thing, and I think we've been through it in our own club where we give everybody a sheet of paper with several questions. What do you like? What don't you like? So on and so forth. And then we collect them all up, and I'm sure somebody looks at them, but we probably don't do much with them. It's more impactful. It takes a little more time, but it's more impactful to be able to sit down and do what you just did with me Because I could have answered probably those same things on paper somehow, but it wouldn't have been the same, would it?
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to communicating with our own club members
Yeah.
to find out why they're there in the first place.
What's our theme this year?
Rotary connects the voters.
Yeah, the word connect is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do within our clubs, even with each other, as
Yeah.
well as our communities. And that's the way we grow Rotary.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I'm gonna let you finish it up. Thank you.
Wonderful. I'll go ahead and I will close with, that was a great exercise. And one thing typically that I'm doing when speaking with someone, and again, I'm tying this again to innovation, is I think really the most important part of innovation that may even go unseen or be hidden is how, when we connect with others, we help them define their own meaning and experience in Rotary as a member. That has to be created. It's individual, it's authentic, it's real, and it's different for every single person. So questions are the way to get to that, but it is a thought exercise really in that, okay, so what is it that that experience looks like for you, and how does it fit into something so much larger that so much larger than yourself, that it's not something you may be able to do or have an impact on by yourself. So with that, each time I have a conversation with somebody that's coming in, a small addition to that is, yes, what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you want? What is it that you need? What is it that you're seeking? I think sometimes I have to catch myself because I almost get lost in that moment and in that instant. Because if they find that at one meeting, they don't have a reason to return. And that's a very familiar thing in some regards, and a very powerful thing. So every time I'm asking them a question, I'm asking them not necessarily just, what is it that brought you here today? And I'm trying to do math in my head of who do I need to introduce them to, who is the closer to introduce them to, where can I direct them? I think to myself, what is it that we have that we can offer that you can be part of that will keep you wanting to come back? And that small change in that question, but infinitely different because I'm no longer localized to this moment and this specific single serving meeting. I can already start to draw a narrative out of that will be a lifelong experience for them, and why it would be something they don't want to miss for sure. So thank you all for coming today. It was a great session. I hope you learned a lot and enjoyed it, and have a great rest of your experience here at the conference.